back to WMMA. Now with Chuck Stevenson coming at you with special fight review. So this fight doesn't happen for over a month away. I normally don't do these this far out, but I really wanted to get this one done, and I'm not too worried about this fight getting canceled this time. So we're going to one championship, 1 century, October 13th in Japan. Angela Lee versus Jing Nan Xiong, the rematch. This time, however, it's for Angela Lee's 115-pound 1 atomweight title. Last time in March, 196 days before this fight will happen, Xiong beat Lee in the 5th and final round, stopped her to retain her 125-pound title. This time they're rematching at Angela Lee's weight class. So before we break down each fighter individually, let's see how they stack up against each other. Age. Lee is 23. Xiong is the elder at 31. Record. Xiong is more experienced, 14-1 to Lee's 9-2. And height. Xiong will have a 1-inch height advantage, 5 feet 5 inches tall to Lee's 5 feet 4 inches tall. Unfortunately, I could not find reach statistics for either fighter. So now we looked at each fighter compared to the other. Let's break them down individually. This time we'll start with the challenger for this fight, Jing Nan Xiong. Xiong's strengths. She is a heavy hitter. She throws heavy hands. She throws heavy kicks. And when they hit, they hurt. She is definitely the hardest hitter that Lee has ever faced, which helped result in the stoppage in the last fight. Also, Xiong is more experienced, 14-1 to 9-2, so 11 fights, 15. So 4 fights more. Xiong's career also stretched out longer than Angela Lee's has, but that experience definitely helps play a difference. And then finally, Xiong has the confidence from winning the first fight. She knows that she went in there with a successful game plan and was able to pull it off, and she can probably take the same game plan and apply it into the second fight. So she's going to go in full of confidence, knowing that she already has a win over Lee. Okay. Now, as far as weaknesses go, Xiong's major weakness is that she tends to get in trouble spots. I forget if it was against Santos or Ballin, but Xiong allowed the opponent to take her back. She was in trouble for a little bit there. And then in the first fight against Lee, Lee had her in a triangle and an arm bar. Both of them were really tight. Xiong was going purple, but she fought through it. So she does tend to get in those trouble spots, although she also has the heart to get through them. Now, Xiong's keys to victory. She needs to work the body. That's what got her the victory in the first fight, was that body work. Especially in the 5th and final round, she went punches to the body, she went kicks to the body. I'd like to see her work the body even earlier in this fight, try to get away sooner. I think body work is one of the most underutilized aspects of the fight game in MMA, and when you see a fighter that does it and uses it effectively, it's a beautiful thing. It just saps the opponent's strength, saps their energy. So Xiong needs to work the body. She also needs to, alluding back to that weakness, she needs to avoid those compromising situations. Can't always avoid it, but she needs to avoid it as much as possible. And then finally, Xiong needs to drag this fight out. She drug it out the first time and it worked in her favor. I would try to drag it out again. We know that she has the cardio, the will, power, and the heart to go all 5 rounds. And she can definitely do it here. So she needs to drag this fight out longer. The longer it drags out, the more it should work in her favor. Okay, so that was the challenger, Jing Nan Xiong. So let's look at the champ, Angela Lee. So Lee's strengths. So Lee is a submission whiz. She has a win by twister. She has wins by, I think, triangle choke, arm bar. Let me see real quick here. She has the twister. She has anaconda choke, a couple rear naked chokes, arm bar. I mean, she's great with the submissions on the ground. So she's a submission whiz. She also has that strong support network of, being a fighter who fights alongside her family. She works and trains with her husband, her brother, her dad, her mom, her sister. I mean, she has that really strong family support network behind her that a lot of fighters don't necessarily have because they train alone. Or like in her opponent Xiong's case, Xiong trains in Bali, which is like hundreds of miles from her home in China, probably thousands of miles. So Lee has that strong support network that even when stuff gets hard, she has people there to support her. And then she has good takedowns. I think she got almost every single takedown she went for against Xiong in the first fight. So she'll have that to help her get to the ground and work for those submissions. Now, Angela Lee's major weakness is that she tends to try to force things rather than sit back and make necessary adjustments. For example, in the last fight, she kept trying to go for the submission, and it wasn't necessarily fully locked in, and rather than try to adjust it, she tries to force it. Or another time, when she was going for a twister, she wasn't able to get the twister, and she kept squeezing, and then she had to give up and just start punching from the twister position, when really all she had to do was make a minor adjustment with her legs, and she'd have had it. So Lee's major weakness is that when she gets into an advantageous position or a submission, if she can't get it right away, she starts trying to force it rather than make the necessary adjustments to fix it and really lock it in. And the last fight, it tired her out. So that's something she needs to watch out for. And then finally, Lee's keys to victory. Again, I'd go for takedowns early and often. She's better on the ground. She just straight up is. She controlled most of the ground exchanges. I think almost all the ground exchanges in the first fight. So go for the takedowns early. Go for them often. I think she also needs to avoid prolonged striking exchanges on the feet with Xiong, especially at boxing and kickboxing range. If she needs to get it in to the clinch to work her takedowns, then that's what I would do as well. Because when she let Xiong stay at range, Xiong landed a lot of punches and a lot of kicks to her. So she needs to avoid those prolonged exchanges. And then finally, Lee needs to work on taking her time. This goes back to the weakness I pointed out, that she tries to force things. Can't always force things on high-level opponents. You need to take your time. You need to set things up properly and make sure they're properly locked in. Otherwise, you're stuck at a certain point, and you either force it or you have to go back and make the necessary adjustments. So if she takes her time working on things, she can get it. Alright, so now that we've gone over both fighters, what they bring to the table, time to make a prediction. So I thought about this long and hard. And one of my biggest things is that the last fight was Lee moving up a weight class, whereas this time it's Xiong moving down 10 pounds. So my biggest worry as far as that goes is how will the weight cut affect Xiong, who's never fought at 115 pounds. Will she be able to make the weight? Will she be able to make it with the hydration? I'm not too worried about that. She doesn't seem big for 125 pounds at all. In fact, outside of one or in other promotions, she probably would fight at 115 pounds. She just doesn't seem that big, especially compared to Lee, who is a big 115 pounder. So taking that into account, then I start to worry about, can Lee still make the weight? She's fought at 125 her last two fights, and she went up in weight because she had talked about having a hard time making 115 anymore. So this could possibly be her last fight at 115, win or lose. But seeing how the worries about each fighter making weight kind of equal out, then I got to go back to what we learned from the first fight. And going over, everything I just went over, I feel pretty confident that I'm going to pick Xiong to win. I think I picked her the last fight, and I'm going to pick her this fight. I don't know if she'll be able to finish it, but I'm pretty confident in Xiong winning again. Either way, I think it's going to be a very fun, very exciting fight. First fight was an early fight of the year contender. I just watched it again the other day. It was just a fun fight to watch. I'm really looking forward to this. But I'm picking Jing Nan Xiong to win it again this time. Pretty confident in that pick. So, hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Likes are always appreciated. And what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. And hit that bell for notifications. And we'll see you next time.